Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. Just before the open here, let me get I guess my mouth is still a little. Okay. Anyways, let's grab links here. Oh, gotta make sure that Discord is up first. Share that. All right. Did I get them all? Yeah, I did. Okay. So anyways, yesterday was quite a confusing day. It did end up being quite bracketed, and they moved up and down and back up, and then on the overnight action, they finally moved down, but they're still only to the support right here at 30. That was just the open that you saw there. It does look like they're preferring down. But I think I'm gonna have to give them a little bit of breathing room here at the beginning. And we do have we have news. We have news in 9 minutes. Because, I need to refresh this. Show me. We have ADP, non-farm employment change for Canada and wholesale sales for Canada. In the US at 6:30, we have core durable goods, the Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, and of course the usual unemployment claims. Followed at 7:45, my time. So, followed in 15 minutes. Oh, no, sorry. An hour after that or so. 45 minutes after that. Flash Manufacturing PMI. So we have a bunch of news today. We could have some movement, and probably not best to take a trade right here, although I do think after what we've just seen and the larger chart that we may see some down here, and if we do get some down, it might be, they could break some significant levels. Now, on the split side, the E-mini kind of had a little bit of a dip up, and now it's back to where it was, so that's kind of weird. And then when I look in the currencies, I'm not really seeing 6Js, just kind of sideways. Yeah. Same with the British pound and the euro, mostly sideways. Oil about 2 points higher, $2 higher in oil. So I think that we might have an okay trading day ahead of us. Maybe better action than we've had this week. Still going to be a little cautious at the beginning here, try and ease myself into it. Okay. Well, they're pushing lower. They're trading a decent amount of volume doing it too. Especially over here in the 5-year, and the 5-year seems to be the ringleader. I'm not seeing... Well, the spread did move back. That's interesting. But you're not still not seeing a ton of spread between the 5-year and the 10-year, which I think is a little interesting. Well, anyways, let's make sure that we get all of our stuff up here. In 6 minutes, we're going to get all this news, and it's going to be a little difficult. Close that window. Good morning, BDT. Good morning, one loyal Twitch watcher that always watches on Twitch almost immediately when we get on every time. Thank you. There's always at least one, usually 1 to 3 on Twitch, but there's always at least one that immediately comes on every time. So anyways, what are the twits saying? Zero hedge. China has bought time and has no interest of ever changing. Quote from Citigroup. That's Bullard. U.S. economy pretty good, not much faster inflation. China offers to buy 30 billion more U.S. agricultural imports a year. Okay, but they actually gonna make a deal? I don't know. This headline last night. U.S. and China are sketching the outlines of a deal to end the trade war. Samsung's new foldable phone is a problem for Apple this year, says Goldman Sachs. I don't know. That's interesting. So if I really wanted to show bling, I would definitely get that phone because it is $2,000 fucking dollars. Did you guys see that? $2,000 for a phone? I don't. Here's the thing. I've been waiting for that phone. Like, I almost didn't buy this phone. This is the 9. I got the Galaxy S9 Plus, and with the beveled edges. And I really didn't want to get it. I was waiting because I thought that the foldable phone was imminent. And then when I realized that it was like a year off, I was like, fine, I won't get it. So now, here a year later, comes out, $2,000. Wouldn't have bought it anyways. But good grief, $2,000. That's nuts. So yeah. I don't know if people not buying iPhones because they're too expensive, they're not going to buy that. I tell you that much. Anyways. We got about 3 minutes here. Well, they're pushing them new lows ahead of news. I don't know, guys. That is just not something that I can participate in. Okay, well, what are the key numbers that we're looking for? Core durable goods orders month over month. We're looking for a reading of spot 3%. Durable goods orders month over month, looking for a reading of 1.6%. I'm sorry, the difference is durable goods is change in total value of new purchase orders placed with manufacturers for durable goods. And the core number is excluding transportation items. Gotcha. Because transportation is affected by energy, And oil has been moving down. So just durable goods is probably more important, 1.6%. Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, we're looking for a reading of 14.1. And unemployment claims, we're looking for 228. All right. Not quite sure why there would be that much interest in pushing lows ahead of news. Perhaps somebody wants out of a trade before the news hits, or perhaps somebody thinks that they know what's going on. I think that we could probably come in here and say that if it gets down here, we could maybe pull. We could maybe pull the trigger. And somewhere up here. Okay, here we go. Jobless claims, 216 versus 228. 216 versus 228, that's good. Core durable goods, 1.2 versus 1.7% expected. Okay, so that does not... Oops. Oops. Okay. Let's refresh this all. Make sure that I just got them all correct. Yes, core durable goods was 1.2 versus 1.6. That's bad, but it's not like awful. Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, though, was negative 4.1 versus 14.1. Wow. Yeah, I think that that is going to move us up. That's a pretty bad number, guys. Pretty bad number. So just again, just to read them out to you, core durable goods, spot 1 versus an expected spot 3. Durable goods, month over month, 1 spot 2 versus a 1.6, slightly under expectations. Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, the big one, negative 4.1 versus an expected 14.1, so significantly underperforming. And unemployment claims actually slightly better than expected at 216K versus 228K. Okay, well, my price is kind of being a little bit, what is the word? Flaky. That's a shocker. Yep. Yeah, I'm just noticing you got decent icebergs at both of these prices here on the bid. That could mean that they might break through it for a little bit. We'll see if we even get filled here. Man, I got filled on one contract, but the second contract is 115. It could come back and fill me. We'll see. We'll see. I think that the E-mini, though, is going to be very unhappy this morning. Nobody's selling it. Hmm. This order here that's hard to I don't know. The 040 is at least one spot we can look at. Okay, so they are starting to take 050. Sorry, 005. A little bit of an iceberg at 005. Hmm. So that zero pulls a little too easy, but it's kind of like fishy robot stuff in it. In it. They're saying ZT moved big. Let's see, ZT, yeah. You know what? It didn't take a whole lot to move them there, though. Just looking at like what they left behind. What about UB? UB moved big too and came back significantly. I don't know. I really hate that it keeps moving my open. It keeps screwing up my profit window here. I want it to be like that. Want a second contract. Not gonna happen. Hmm. I am surprised that they've gotten this quiet. Maybe Tyler's gonna help me today. Let's fill Seth at 31.5. Why not? Cool. All right. That is acceptable. I'm a little worried, though, that the 31.5 isn't going to hold here again. But I'm also wondering if somebody is just luring to get filled there. I don't know. I think that my risk reward in relation to the larger overall range is good. And I think I'm in line with the fundamentals and the most recent trend. Maybe not the larger chart, though. That might be one thing that does appear to be a little bit against us. But I think that we've created a pretty big profile here. I mean, look at this. There was 50,000 to 40 to 50,000 traded at every single one of these prices. I think that there should be a very high probability that they can at least get up to here to 03 and probably 04 just because that was where the actual swing was. And I'm not quite sure what's taking them so long. That, I think, is my biggest concern at the moment, is that Philly Fed number was really bad, and it's not just, we're not just taking off. EU source on suggestion the UK will table a legal text for a unilateral 12-month exit clause from the backstop. Oh, come on, at a time when the UK is tearing itself apart over the future relationship, we're going to put an exit clause on the only solution we have? Well, yeah, I mean, you can't just lock them into it. Fed's bullard, economy slowing, although not terribly, on CNBC right now. Okay, so that might explain why it is so. I wonder, does the federal, did the FOMC have access? I don't think they did. I don't think they had access to that number. Anyways, okay, so they were starting to push 31 a little bit harder, but it looks like that for the moment, at least, they decided they're not going to do it, and they ticked back up pretty easily there, actually. I don't know. I think that in order for us to go, we might need to see the E-mini come back a little bit. Is the E-mini going to come back? I think that the E-mini could very easily retrace back into the lower end of yesterday's range. Like, why not 27.75.25, for instance? That would be new lows on the session, but it wouldn't be huge. I mean, it would still be within yesterday's range. So well, they are definitely going back and forth a lot more at 31.5 than I would like, because if they're going like back and forth at 31.5 and then they go up and they're going back and forth at evens, then that would tell me that them really truly am in at the bottom of a four tick range of sorts. Right now, though, they're kind of saying maybe you're right on the edge of a cliff and we're going to go over it, regardless of the news. I would be confused if they moved down, for sure. Okay, well, I like that stack there. 5-year ticking back up. Top of the range here in the 5-year is the 17.5. So is it? Yep. So that's good. Let's see. I think we just got John's notes. When my phone buzzes like that, that's usually John's thing. Okay. Blam blam blam. Bull bear zone is the 146.10 to 146.14 area. Oh wow. So we're like way below the bull bear zone. I don't have a bias, but as long as the price continues to trade below that level, we could see lower. So really, we have a long ways up to go to be saying that like it's on. Business spending suffers a longest contraction since 2015. Story on Zero Hedge. Bum bum bum. Pull you guys back up. Retail sentiment update. Ripple at extremes, with 96.7% of traders net long from daily forex. Iranian businesses have found ways to get around Donald Trump's sanctions. Here's how they're doing it. Financial Times. I don't know. So I like the size being bid there in the 5-year at 17. Pulled a little bit when we tick down to it though. But they are there. Could definitely stack more if we decide that we're going to tick up a bit more. I like it is they are able to make it tick up to 31.5 pretty easily, but they're ticking it both ways, and when they tick it down they are stacking a decent amount on the offer. Fed's bull are Fed rate cut possible, not a baseline case. So at the moment, I think we're still waiting on this interview on CNBC to end. And until that happens, it might be slow going. Slow going. See, they stack a decent amount on at 31.5, but if anybody trades into it, most of it pulls. See that? 1271 to trade it up is not too bad. But there was like 3,000 being stacked on it on the downtick. So that's a little fishy. Stephen Miller saying Don Lemon completely gives away the game of why CNN won't own up to this and other failings because they are paid to act like opposition. Smollett, Parkland, Covington, list goes on. They believe they are political opposition, not journalists. You know, I cannot read people's minds. I don't know what's going on in the head of Don Lemon, and I think that when Stephen Miller says that, even though I identify with it and I kind of like what he's saying, I think that there's a strong logical fallacy in there because we cannot read Don Lemon's head. But are they paid to be political opposition? It seems to me right now that in the media, if you are like opposition, it's easier to make money. I think that's just the way it is. And maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing. As long as there's balance. So that time they traded down, they absorbed quite a bit there at 31.5, 2,500. And then they pushed it back up. Wow. And then they pushed it back up with the 1781. And that 17 in the 5-year is getting thicker. And meanwhile, ES, I'm not quite sure where it's going, but an abortion bill is passing in Utah. Okay, so that time a little bit of ticking back and forth, and again, it's decently strong offer. The E-mini did take two ticks down there. I don't know if that's significant, but it is maybe possibly turning now. Things could get interesting if they decide to take a dive. Okay, so that 31 is pulling. Johnson & Johnson says it has received subpoenas from the Justice Department and the Securities and Exchange Commission related to litigation involving alleged asbestos contamination in its baby powder product line. Whoa, asbestos and baby powder? The Smollett under arrest. Empire Star surrenders on felony charge and hate crime on Zero Hedge. Okay, so they are now trading into 30.5, which should not happen, but I don't know. It's kind of looking like I was wrong about that one particular spot. E-mini came back up there a little bit. They were pointed down slightly, and then they very quickly moved back up. Digital Shots thinks that we're going to see new lows. I feel like a deer caught in the headlights, guys. Okay, so there's still a big bid in the 5-year. That's curious. And it pulls. Here comes my stop. Yep. Should have been getting out before that. Okay, a lot of volume trading at 29.5. Donald J. Trump, I want 5G and even 6G technology in the United States as soon as possible. It is far more powerful, faster, and smarter than the current standard. American companies must step up their efforts or get left behind. There is no reason that we should be lagging behind on ... So there's more. US dollar slides after surprise fall in Philly Fed and core durable goods orders. Yeah, this move to the lows is definitely not in line with what I thought was going to happen there. And I honestly just don't see a reason for them to be trading like they are. Well, that's funny that digital shot is getting long there now. Okay. Hmm. So that's pretty aggressive there in the 5 year. Something that is so obviously the future. I want the United States to win through competition, not by blocking out currently more advanced technologies. We must always be the leader in everything we do, especially when it comes to the very exciting world of technology. The rest of Donald Trump's tweet. Hmm. IQ is still says that he's short ZB. Hard for me to be taking short at this spot. I think I need to go short. I think I need to see a few more ticks up. Equities sure looking like on the edge there. Tick after tick. You can see the 5 year reacting to it. It's a lot of volume going along in the 5 year. Okay, but the tick doesn't hold yet. They're going back and forth. Hmm. Hmm. The Philly Fed collapse is the biggest drop since the 2011 US ratings downgrade. I just don't understand how you can have such a terrible number and the market's not really reacting to it. Must be that we're getting just to the end of the contract, maybe? I don't know. Five G, 6G, what about 7G? Well, I have 5G on my phone and I only just barely got it from this most recent update, so I don't really know if it's a big deal or not. So we got a couple of good upticks there in the 5 year. They formed a range though. They might go back to the bottom of that range. In the meantime, the E-mini has recovered most of that little stumble there. Now they're pushing back down to the bottom of that range in the E-mini. You want to go long ZN right now? Futures really need a China trade talks are going great optimism booster. It's been about 2 hours without one. Mikey says he doesn't even look at ZN or ZF. Okay, so there again, a pretty strong uptick in the 10-year. Is that even a thing? I don't think 6G is even a thing yet. You know, though, that if he tweets about it, that they're gonna make it. They kind of have to. Like, if they don't have it, Elon Musk will make it. You know that's how it works these days, right? Okay, so two pretty strong hits there. Okay, so they ticked up, and there's not a strong bid there now. Maybe it firms up. Okay, that's a little better. They're still kind of pointed like the 5-year maybe moves up, but there's some pretty strong offer up there that maybe stops them in their tracks. IQ saying maybe takeoff traded 145.24, taking very long time to drop. ZB big NR at 26. Well, the pattern that it's showing here, pretty similar to what it was showing before we dropped to new lows. I see the order flow support here. I mean, look at this. That was a strong buy in the 5-year. That's kind of, I think, the thing that we're relying on here. We saw the spot and then we took it, and somebody definitely did take it long. And the E-mini is kind of going a little bit lower. But it's a pretty precarious spot. Okay. So buyer's able to recover 29.5. Not as strongly, but it's up there. The 5-year maybe ticks up 162 and starts hitting into 16.5. That might be interesting, especially if that order pulls. Order is unlikely to pull at 16.5, but it could still happen. The Philly Fed orders is the biggest monthly drop since Lehman bankruptcy. Hmm. My proxies and regional data suggest that existing home sales fell again in January. Bloomberg consensus is 0.2 versus an expected negative 6.4 prior. That's the expectation. Okay, they're holding an okay bid there, and they did tick up there in the 5-year up to the 16.5. Nobody's traded into the 16.5, but it's there. Trump officials and China's Vice Premier Liu He are meeting on White House campus today for last-ditch trade talks. Italian Prime Minister Conte, country's economic fundamentals remain strong. You know, back in the day, during the crisis, it was always U.S. fundamentals remain strong. You know what that says to me nowadays? It says to me that you're about to go into a recession. That's what that means. You don't have to remind people that capitalism is great unless you're about to go into a recession. Don't you think? If they're not about to go into a recession, then hey, you're in a buy opportunity. Why would you tell people that? You would just go out and buy it. That's what I would do. You know that the congressmen, they can do that. You know, they don't have any restrictions. Just saying. Just saying. You don't say that unless something's really fucking wrong. Mike Pompeo rules out a U.S. Senate bid in 2020. Okay, Iceberg at 29.5 on the bid. Italian Prime Minister Conte doesn't see any need for a corrective budget. Still expects growth to pick up in second half of the year. Why do you think that? That's 4 months from now. How do you know what's going to happen then? That just sounds like wishful thinking to me. I don't know anything about Italy. Well, you know, last year, I guess last year, we had a pretty strong move down. And I said, this whole thing is crazy. And it's a flash crash. And I think that we will probably recover and make new highs later in the year. But it might not happen until like Q3 or Q4. So I guess I did make a prediction that far ahead of time. And I ended up being right. Although I think in that particular instance, being right, was that really, I mean, yes, but was it really the big thing that mattered? No, because after we made new highs, then we had this super, super ugly move down, right? So, Hmm. So here we see again the 29 is making itself look weak. They're trading down at the 16 in the 5-year. Some decent bids down there to catch it. Forex Live commenting on these Italian companies. They remain strong. Italy's economy is smaller than it was a decade ago. Okay. So he's pointing out that already been pretty bad for Italy. Okay, so they're 29 going off again. The wall is under construction right now, and Donald Trump has a video of them building the wall. Meanwhile, ES continues to march a little bit lower. It's kind of on the edge, like everything is looking like red and maybe just possibly barely turning blue. Hmm. Okay, so a decent amount sold at 15 and 3/4, and they absorbed it, but it did go offer. And 28 half pulling now. This is all pretty bizarre to me.
Block cell.
Shit. Oh, I clicked right as I clicked there. Well, now I'm probably just gonna have to eat it. Mm-hmm. So 2 bad ones today. Can't explain. Not sure. Bought at 24, huh? Hmm. I mean, it's been trending down, right? Even though the ES is going down. So, like, from my perspective, the question is, like, everything that I'm seeing, it should have already gone up, and it's still going down. I'm not sure I can explain why it's going. Hmm. The problem is that I can see some more, and he's really sticking their necks out there now. My birthday. Mm. You are kind of getting that spread. You are kind of getting the spread steepening a little bit again this morning. The only thing I can think of here is maybe if you had a really long-term position and you had been long on this contract that you're trying to take your profits. You know what I mean? I mean, I see there's an iceberg here, 27 half. Hmm. I don't know. Sorry about your losses. Try not fading momentum I took for it. Yeah. Well, I really did fade momentum. Well, not, the second time I definitely faded momentum, didn't I? The first time I was taking a trade based off of the fundamental news, and it just didn't seem to matter. So I'm just not sure what to think about it. You know, that little move right there, creating a gap on my one range chart, ticking down through 28, and nothing actually traded at 28 on that down tick. So I think that we start building volume on ZB right now, maybe a pause to the downside. Sure. Anyways, my take on what I'm seeing right now is that anything that I may possibly see on the DOM here doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? Like we saw a big buy in the 5 year. Didn't matter. We saw a really big position unwind off of the news and push higher. Didn't matter. We saw that the E-mini is pushing down and pushing lows on its open. Doesn't matter. All the things that I'm looking at, they don't matter. The only thing that matters, I guess. Well, I in the one that really kind of gets me is the news move. Is like how I'm not sure how I could possibly have seen that as a move lower. You know, I guess perhaps maybe the issue was that we were right there by that opening price, and they had a hard time even holding above that opening price. I don't know. Seems kind of it's a little different. The digital shot says that he's short 28. I'd also say ZB never really paused. So if I'm looking at ZN, I might be too focused on ZN and missing the real signals. I thought I trade ES Treasuries using DOM. I consider most of the numbers trickery. I mostly follow the momentum of the DOM, not so much the numbers. Yeah. Well, I try to. I mean, numbers matter, but mostly because it's like if there was a big number and then something changes, and what did they do? If that makes sense, you know, like this spot right here, this 16 half. Ooh, there was a big bid there, and then they went through it, and it becomes a big offer. You know, those are the kind of the things that I pay more attention to when it comes to numbers. I can see some buying there though. The E-mini is pushing lower again. Well, now they're finally doing something like reasonable, but the price isn't very good. It's weird. This whole so the E-mini looks super negative. But treasuries are only 3 ticks off of their lows.
Block sell.
Okay, so that like that right there. So some of the price movement that I just saw there on the upticks looked like panic buying. Like panic buying, like, oh no, the Yemeni's falling apart. You know? You know? And then they downtick in 7K. That was a 5K. Jeez. This is starting to go into mind blowing. Like, oh my gosh, what's going on, guys? This is about as confused as I get. Look, the mini is just not. Whew. I mean, that action in ES right now, like the price action, is not positive. That is not positive. Look at that. Could it be? Okay. Okay. Maybe. Someone definitely bought it. Okay, so I was just typing there. Remember that the behavior that we saw was that we were down at around 28, and we saw two upticks up to 29, and it happened very quickly. And as it was happening, the E-mini was completely falling apart. And by the way, we're seeing a lot of market buying in the E-mini, and they're pushing new lows as it happens. So they're actually catching people trying to bottom fish on this thing, and that might push them lower. That's just, I don't know, kind of weird divergence here. Very strong divergence here. Anyways, so when that happened, then we started to see like a sell program. Like anytime that they put anything at 28.5, you would see like the machine gun. You see the machine gun selling it at 28.5, right? And then 5K sell onto 28. That's super fucking weird. Super fucking weird. Anyways, so I say that's super fucking weird, but if it's just somebody spreading, I don't know. Look at that. I mean, that's long. So far, I'm happy with it. Well, there's a little bit too much. Um, Look at that. That is also super fucking weird. Okay, so that was the PMI data. PMI manufacturing 53.7 versus a 54.9 expected. Oh, actually. Let me just, I'm lost. Okay. This right here. So manufacturing was poor, services was good. It caused a really impulsive move lower and then move back up in the E-mini. And I'm also seeing I'm also seeing that we are still pretty long in cumulative delta despite pushing lows and pushing lower. And Treasuries still not really responding. EU's Maelstrom says narrow trade accord with the US feasible. Hmm. A battle today, sure. I mean, if 29 goes bid again, could very much be talking about a full reversal. The E-mini has come down a lot, but it's not. They are through yesterday's lows. U.S. service providers underpin quickest rise in private sector output since June 2018. That's interesting. So it seems to me that manufacturing in the United States right now is not doing very well because of the trade war stuff, and the services are kind of making up for it. Which I think is kind of very much in contradiction of like what Donald Trump is trying to do, right? Aren't they? They're trying to bring manufacturing back, and they're saying that a services-based economy is not sustainable in the long term. Then yeah, I don't know. The E-mini did move lower there, and the cumulative delta did come off. So I think I kind of thought that we could move lower off of that, and now it's equalized. So you know that trade is done. Hmm. I also have to say that to have had a 5K block sell there at 28. Now, there was actually a couple of big lots trading back and forth between 28, 29. Actually, a block buy at 29 and a block sell at 28. And back up. Huh. I don't know. This makes, this level right here, this 28, a pretty, sorry, it's not a TB, it's a TS. Tyler sold. Makes that a pretty critical level. If we're able to get 3 ticks beyond that and hold it. Did ZB do 5 tick pullback? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bernie Sanders to sign affirmation he will run as a Democrat in 2020, in case anybody was doubtful that he was actually going to run as a Democrat. Okay, they took an offer again at 28.5. Curiously, the 5-year fighting around 15.5, and the E-mini, ugh. That still looks negative to me. That still looks like there might be another push lower in the E-mini. That's weird. Oh, I see. Okay. Like, the thing that I find really funny and odd about this is that over the past few weeks, people have been saying equities and treasuries don't agree. Equities have been moving up, treasuries have been relatively elevated. Right? Over the past 2 days or so, there's been some pretty aggressive selling. Let's not say aggressive, because when it drops, it just kind of like drops, and like the floor pulls out from underneath of you, and you're like, what the fuck? Right? And it may yet do it here on us again. Anyways, now today, you're getting pretty extended selling. Like, when you look at this, okay, overnight, higher than previous day's high, and now we're, so we've got an engulfed candle here. If they push through this down here, 27.65.75, which is not that far off, then that candle suddenly is a really, really ugly candle on the longer term chart. All right, like, that's a temporary high. Okay, so finally equities are coming in, are starting to give something up. When one side is giving up, then it's the equity side are saying, okay, that's as far as we can go. Maybe we need to test the other side of this range now, right? So finally they're giving it up. And the treasuries don't care about that either. So I'm having a hard time understanding what's driving these trades. Well, 28 did go offer there. 15 and a half. That was a decent stack on it. I think that I probably should have taken 28 and a half at some point. You're getting a little bit more of a buy in the E-mini now. Hmm. Yeah, and hitting at 27 and a half, although it gets absorbed. Hmm. 27 and a half, not just giving it up. And equities kind of making another push. '28 goes bid again. And hitting into 28 and a half. Back and forth, actually. U.S. existing home sales change 4.9 million versus an estimated 5. Existing home sales negative 1.2 versus an estimated 0.2. Hmm. Hmm. I feel like that this selling in the E-mini should be scaring the Treasury traders. Should be causing some panic buying more than it is. They're gonna go. They're threatening a new low, and they're not like. They're barely even like. You know. Yep. Okay, they're ticking into the low. Getting a little bit of pushback there. Okay, there's a big iceberg at 28. Chicago Police Department holds press conference in Smollett case. Or is it Smollett? There's two T's. It must be Smollett. Decently strong down tick at 28 again. But they absorbed 4K. Almost 5K. Buying. Americans can't afford a 4.5% 30-year fixed mortgage, and that has major implications for the future of monetary policy. Yeah. So then why are you guys pushing lows? Huh? And they're taking it out. There was some buying down there. The buyers held it at 27.70. Have to say, even though the E-mini... Sorry. Let me gather my thoughts here. The Treasury has held this 27 level 3 times now. That's what I meant to say. This is the third test of it. Uptick. Big offer. That right there. Oh, what's wrong with my pen? Uptick. It doesn't work. There we go. This right here. Not a whole lot of conversation from you guys on YouTube today. What's the deal? Is it just too hard to watch me lose? Because that's probably the problem, huh? Decent amount being absorbed at 28 now, too. I don't know. The E-mini is trying to hold these levels. You can kind of see this little like line right there like that. Hmm. Okay, now the 28 is starting to get a little bit. Now look at that. Let's move this. Okay. So here again is where they're buying it and somebody is like desperately trying to keep it down. Look at that. Ah. The E-mini doesn't quite make a new low. Now it did. So that's a new low in the E-mini. And here again, it's like we get 2 upticks from it. Where did I say we needed to go to? 2766. Okay, so now we're above all of these prices and we're holding a bit. So it's back to what we were saying before. If they can get 29 to go bid, then we really start to look good. Okay, so great question, Dojo. By the way, why is my... Okay. When the ES sells off, which of the treasuries complex gets the most volume? The short end of the curve, the 2, the 5? Yes. Basically. So you will tend to see the 5-year react to it more than the others. So the 5-year is more sensitive to short-term changes, but when I mean short-term changes, I mean like things that are affecting the markets just today. But the ZB tends to move more because it's like a whip. When there's a percentage change in interest rates today, you're compiling that over 30 years instead of 5 years, and so the 30-year tends to move more. And so what you might see is when you look at a chart, you can see like, oh man, the 30-year really moved off of that. But then when you look at it in terms of like volume and the amount of money that was being traded and everything, you will find very often that it is the 5 and the 10 where they're hedging. Okay, so they once again they sold it at 28.5. Do what? Oh, do it. I know you want to. That's the equity indexes, right? I do want to. I kind of want to go short in equities. What are the two inside columns on your ESDOM? Is that transaction? Yes, that is transacted. So that is the number of orders basically that bought into that price since it's been there. And if it ticks up, like, so it's ticked up, and now it's been more than 2 seconds or whatever it is, then when it ticks back down, it resets it. So now that's why that one is blank when it wasn't before. Yeah. So it gives me a really good idea of how much volume it took to lift the bid or the offer every time. But it also can show you, like the icebergs and so forth. Okay, so like there's a little bit of some absorption there at 27.72.75. So it does look like sellers are trying to pile on it again, preventing it from getting a swing high. Hmm. Digital shot still feels really negative here. It's interesting because we normally are pretty closely in line. I'm trying to figure out how to best future spread right now. I have a 2s under 5 1-to-1 on. Sure. Well, a lot of it depends on your platform and your data provider and all of that. So there they go again. They make that 28 go offer, and they're pulling 27.5. The E-mini looks much more positive than it did, like just 10 seconds ago. Like it looked like sellers were piling on, but it looks like buyers were able to beat them out, I guess. Yeah. And Maker saying he is changing direction. Yes, a little. You're right. That is now the fourth test of 27. Hmm. And now a fifth test of 27. Strong bid there at 27.5. Interesting. That was an aggressive stack at 27.5, and I think that we might get it a tick up. But if we do get a tick up, it may just be like a pullback because the E-mini may have reversed there. Although I'd say that that last little push down in the E-mini was pretty negative looking. This level 2 here's going back and forth, pretty wide amount going back and forth here. That's very aggressive. And here they are, they're selling it again at 28. That's not good. Hmm. Well, I think I've given this thing about as much time as you could possibly give it. Uptick again. And a sweep sell in the E-mini. Hmm. Every once in a while, I'll see a little bit of a stack here and a pull there, and then it kind of balances back out. It's like some robots reacting to each other. Overall, though, when you look at the volume, though, I mean, look at that. $27 does look strong. Hmm. Okay, so 27.5 is starting to get pretty strong again. Hey, Lucas. How's it going? How's it going? An uptick, and they're selling it again. Okay, wait a second. Wait a second. Okay, that time. So it's not a terribly strong offer. Or, sorry, it's not a super strong bid, but the robot is not there that time. Very strong winds outside. Okay. Not quite going. Looks like the mini looks really negative though. Good. I lost 3 ticks and stopped trading. I mismanaged one trade and took one that shouldn't have. If I can't make money on relatively decent action, then I might as well stop for the rest of the day. Well, I don't know if I would call today's action decent action. You know, like there's a difference between it moving and decent action. To me, decent action is something that shows you that it's going to move somewhere. It gives you plenty of time to analyze, predict, and make your moves, and follows through on what it's supposed to do. I don't think that that's what's happening today. This feels to me still kind of a little, I don't know, almost like counter trendish. Like it keeps looking like it's a long. Okay, well, they finally built a 28 half now as well. That cell program isn't there anymore. And, oh, by the way, they finally went bid at 29. Yes, it's true. I saw a sell signal at 29, 29 half, and mismanaged it. I could have been more patient and taken 4 ticks out of that move. Oh. Okay, sure. I would like to know for you guys because it seems like a couple of you guys did take that short, and then a lot of you guys were doubling down on that one, and I got that one wrong, and I just don't see what it was that told us that we were going to go. How did you see that? You know, because to me, it's just like it looks like buyers are maybe holding it, and then just all of a sudden, all at once, they just give up. You know, and you got the thing like right now. I mean, we've been in this one almost an hour now. Only now we're barely getting up to the 29, you know? I don't know. And then that is the other thing is that we have been down at these lows for over an hour.
Block buy.
Okay. I don't know. I'm just noticing today couple of people checking out a little bit early. And I think maybe some of that is that I'm just not doing super great today. You know, I had the first trade that was bad. Um, but I also have noticed that when it's a difficult action that people just leave early. You know what I mean? I came in the morning with a short bias looking for 22 half and 21 as potential next stops. After the news release, they couldn't take it higher and it felt overall weak. They couldn't pass. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the right way to read it, right? Is like, you had a buy, it should have gone up and it didn't. And so at some point you have to give up and reverse on it. Um, I guess I'm kind of more looking for some indication in the order flow, but I don't think that the order flow signal today been very effective. Well, except for maybe this selling at 28, you know. Eh. But even that now is kind of being shaky. Interesting action in the E-mini. That could be. Uh, it makes you want to think, at least, that it's a inverse head and shoulders. That makes sense. And then maybe it goes like that. But what's this doing? Okay. Okay. Maybe it could. Maybe it could. Maybe it could reverse. Well, they're holding a pretty strong offer now at 28. Although that 27 still looks pretty strong. Okay. I haven't seen this setup in a long time. Fresh signs of U.S. economic slowdown. Key manufacturing index at 17-month low. Conference Board's economic index down for second straight month. First back-to-back pullback in 3 years. Sales of previously owned homes at 3-year low. Price growth at a 7-year low. This is from West Wing Reports. ES is just going sideways the last 48 minutes. I feel that my read on the E-mini right now is that if they were reversing, they should have already done it. And there is some like really hard resistance just above them, where those above 2774. So I think that the E-mini probably has to go and make a new low. I think the probability favors a new low in the E-mini. But it's probably not like a super strong. It's maybe like 55% or something like that. And my read in the ZN is still that there appears to be some selling, perhaps just based off of technicals. And we have seen in the last since 20. So in the last 30 minutes or so, we've seen some degree of momentum shift, possibly to the upside. But they have now come back down and they are testing and they're seeing if they are going to hold 27.5. If we hold 27.5 and we get a good uptick back up to 29, then we could get a really good reversal that would take us at least back to the VWAP. At least up to the VWAP. But it is kind of on the edge there, so this one could really go either way. So it's kind of like risk reward looks heavily skewed to the upside, but probability looks extremely uncertain. But because the probability of the E-mini seeing a new low looks good, I think that taking along here is okay. So I'm going to stay in it. But man, overall though, there's just been a lot of selling today in Treasuries, hasn't there? My God. Police say that Jesse Smollett paid the brothers with a check. My gosh. This guy is not... So, I'm starting to see a new... Okay, so there you go. There's the downtick. They're going to trade into 27 at least a few contracts. Okay. I can see a lot of really odd level 2 action going on at 27.5. There's like a bunch of buying trickling in. But the offer is still just holding it on there. And they buy it up. I don't know, guys. I don't know. It is now 8:40. Whenever I've been in a trade for a really long time, and it's past 8:30, it takes them forever for them to finally get it on with. US stocks slide further. Okay. Is it they predicting the future? The stock's about to slide further. Or are they just posting their story like an hour too late? What was that? Oh, okay. I mean, 27 still looks relatively strong. Hmm. Okay, well, I need to at least post my notes, huh? Okay, so now the E-mini is pushing up to where I said that there was some resistance. Oh, and that's a really strong resistance too, by the way. Wow. Okay, well, I think I've been taking too much risk. Shouldn't be letting these come back 3. Man, my phone is like buzzing off the hook.
Block by.
Hmm. So it's still as unclear as ever. Hmm. Down there. There was a block buy at 27. There was a block buy at 28. Somebody's buying it. Not that much is sold into 26 half, even though it's a new low. Okay, can you type here? So, still not trading into 26 half, huh? Hmm. That's a pretty aggressive tick up. Only 1970. The E-mini has been sitting down here in the lower end of this daily range for such a long time. I believe there's a very high probability now that they do go down and break the lows. But I don't know how much of a move that will create in the E-mini. Oh, they finally took me out. That's a super strong offer. Oh, I didn't. I need to make sure that when I'm on 2 that I have that stop at B2. Hmm. Like they finally took 26 half. Totally. But like to put almost 5k on the downtick, and now there's an iceberg at 26. That's sketch. Hmm. 15k. Mm-hmm. 16k. There's a 20. There a 20 in ZB. That's a place where they often have trouble getting through. Hmm. Yeah. I want to go. I want to get out, but it's not every day you see that. It's not every day you see that. The E-mini still looks negative to me. Hmm. Hmm. Market could be waiting for the oil report at the top of the hour. Maybe. Corruption scandal could cost Trudeau his job. Hmm. I mean, there was some aggressive buying there. Let's not call it aggressive buying, but there was a big iceberg there. They weren't able to really sell anything below it. It upticked, and now nobody is taking it higher. They're just sitting here waiting. It's now 9 o'clock. I don't know. I'm thinking that we could move up here, but I think that this is the point where um, I back off on the risk for the next 6 months because the signals are not, they mean nothing now. The market has changed. Hmm. E-mini really looks to me like it wants to go for a new low, guys. Weekly oil inventories 367 2K versus 3050K. Like what? 3,672,000 versus 3,050,000? Inventories were higher than expected. How is oil reacting to this? I don't really see a whole lot of movement, to be honest. Hmm. Okay, so they finally got a buy there, and there's an iceberg, but they're buying it because the E-mini is really starting to look negative again. Okay, they bought up through the iceberg and are holding a good bid. No, but it's so mistakes were made, obviously. Think that I really should have only been trading one contract and taking little ticks out, and I think that I need to be doing that for quite some time now because things have changed. Things have changed. I think that we could go back. I really wouldn't be surprised if we went back to the VWAP, but it's just not. I don't know. But we need to find. This is where I need to start going into, finding some different methods and things like that, because this is like the time period where I do well appears to be past for the moment. Like, we'll get some good trading again a week or two from now when more economic data comes out, and hopefully then the market is reacting a little bit more. But then after that, it starts to get really bad for me. I don't do very well. Last year I didn't do very well after that time period, and the year before that I didn't do very well after that time period. I do really good December through March, and I do okay September to December, but from March to August, I don't do very well. So you can see today is a good example of why. It's just like the whole situation is different. It must be like a different player in the market or something. I don't know. But it's always like, oy, I don't know. You see a reversal, it never happens, and then you think it's going to go lower. It does never happens, or if it does happen, they only give you a tick and then they reverse, and then it sits around for hours, never does anything. So weird. Adrian says he tends to trade poorly in the January through December time period, so I feel like so the whole year. Man. I don't know, because the thing that really irks me about it is that there was economic data today, and it was all really seemed pretty negative to me, and the treasuries just don't care. You would think that after all of this time, that finally getting some confirmation of if treasuries are long because they're a risk on, you know. Anyways, yeah, that's funny. Don't say it like that. It sounds bad. Yeah, I gotcha. All right, 9:05. So this is like literally my hard stop. Sucks. Crappy day. Taking all the risk off for sure. I will see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends.